Today is Thursday, December 5th. And I feel like it's been a while since I did a live, but that was only because last Thursday was Thanksgiving. So it's been 2 weeks. And usually I do my live at 7 p.m. Eastern time on Thursday, but tonight I have a parent meeting I need to go to. So I emailed out to my subscribers that I would be having a live today at 12:30. So hopefully you're on. I don't see anyone, so please share where you're watching from. I always love to know. I am in about 8 inches of snow here where I live in New England. We got hit pretty hard twice over the last few days. Right now the roads are cleared up, but it's still an icy mess, and it's cold. It's like 30, cold to me anyway. So tell me where you're watching from. Hi, Christy. And today we're going to talk about a few things. Well, I've got about 15 baking keto questions. I did ask everybody who wanted to just send me questions, and I'll answer them live today. And but before we do that, and while we're waiting for people to get on and join us, I can tell you about a few things if you didn't know. Hi, Heather from Missouri. I have my holiday giveaway extravaganza has been going on since my new cookbook released October 29th. I gave away a copy of my cookbook with a Swerve baking package, Suckrin baking package. We've done a Butcher Box meat package. We've done one-on-one flavor extracts. I think that was last week. And this week is Pure products. Pyure, and many of you have told me you love this product because it doesn't have any aftertaste. You love it in your coffee. I have my coffee today. My cup is filled with almond milk and pumpkin stevia. And yes, there is foam on my cup. Oh yes, and my cup is from my best friend since we were 15. Starbucks sells these cute little cups, and she lives in Pennsylvania now. And I gave her one from Rhode Island, and it's the best perfect size for coffee. So that's what I'm drinking. I've got pumpkin liquid stevia in my cup, and from my best friend, and I'm going to have a sip now. So good. Almond milk. It's not as good as dairy, but I have to be off dairy. I really used to love my heavy cream in my coffee. Boo-hoo. Anyway, hi, Koya from California. Colleen from Newfoundland, Jennifer from Hawaii. Oh, you must have beautiful weather. I'm jealous. And Kim from Tennessee, and Sharon from Texas. You guys must have great weather. Joanne from Ireland. How's the weather where you are? And Tom from Indiana. Thank you guys so much for coming on and catching me today. So anyway, Monday I shared every Monday I've been doing a holiday giveaway from my new cookbook, Naturally Keto. And I'm doing it until Christmas. So this week is the Pure Products sweetener baking package, along with a copy of my cookbook. So if you already have the cookbook, you can just give it away as a Christmas gift, right? So you have to sign up on the blog. I did leave the link up above in this Facebook post for you. The giveaway ends Saturday night at midnight, so you got to leave a comment on there. And if you did already order the cookbook, you get 5 extra points. So it's still a win, right? And you could just give it away as a gift. And then I announced the winner on Sunday. I picked the winner on Sunday. They email me back and I announce it. And then a new giveaway will be on the next Monday. So that's one thing. Also, if you didn't know and you didn't buy it yet, my cookbook is now, since I think it was Black Friday, 35% off. It's down to like $22. Everyone who orders my cookbook gets my, I have a picture of it. I'm giving a bonus of a free cheesecake ebook. And it's got 16 recipes plus an unpublished recipe that's not on my blog for salted caramel cheesecake mousse. So good. So if you write a review, if you already have my book and you write a review on Amazon, or you haven't ordered yet and you do, just send me an email to naturallyketobook@gmail.com. That link is above too. And then I'll send you this ebook for free for writing a review or for ordering. Oh, and here was the picture of the Pure products. They've got liquid stevia, which is super, super good in the coffee. They've got a great confectioners. They've got the little packets. They've got like a maple syrup and a honey replacement. Super, super yummy. So those are good. And let's see. Oh, the other thing, I am giving away a $100 Amazon gift card for if you register for my online live cooking class I have December 12th at 6:30. The link is above as well. You do not have to be live. Like, you don't have to tangibly be in with the live. You just need your internet. You just need your laptop or computer or whatever. It's online only. And you can cook with me at the same time. We're going to make my pecan pie from my cookbook along with my sugar-free maple syrup and my sugar-free whipped cream. So you can ask questions during the live. Like, it's live stream. You'll get the recipe before, even if you don't have the cookbook. I'm going to give away a copy of the cookbook during the live class. It's December 12th at 6:30. And I'm giving away a $100 Amazon gift card for one lucky person during that live, at the end of the live class. And then you get a recording of it after. So if you didn't get to make it live, you get the recording of it after in your email. So you can watch me live. And I talk about baking questions and tips and things like that during the live. So I hope you'll join me. Okay. The last thing is, before we get into questions, if you have questions now, I have a lot of questions to go through, but I'll try to go through them quickly. So if you have any keto baking questions, you can just leave them. You can leave them here now. Hey, Connie, I can't give you the recipe for the sugar-free pecan pie because it's in my cookbook, and I'm doing a live cooking class for that online. So it's only for those who are in the live class or have the cookbook. So I can't give that onto my blog, but I have a lot of recipes in my blog. So definitely check out, all the recipes on my blog. Oh, and one last thing, I do have low carb and keto meal plans. If you didn't know that, 20% off right now. I decided to extend the cyber deal, and it's till Friday night at midnight. And that link is above as well. If you want to make it easy for yourself, I have easy keto meal plans for families. Low carb too. So low carb is like 40 carbs a day, and the keto plan is 20 carbs a day. So totally workable for any lifestyle. All right, so I'm gonna here's a picture. Forgot to show you of the pecan pie from my cookbook and the one I'll be making live. And then here is a picture of the maple syrup. Yum, yum, so good. My family loves it. And here is a picture of the whipped cream. Yum, that goes on top. I mean, who doesn't like that stuff, right? Okay, so the first question I got was, can I use Knox gelatin when I see beef gelatin in a recipe? The answer is yes, you can. The reason I like the beef gelatin, and I can't remember the company that I use, but I get a grass-fed beef gelatin because, we want to have a grass-fed beef because the gelatin and all the if you don't get grass-fed, all the toxins are in the fat and the bones and the marrow and all that stuff. So gelatin really comes from that. So I prefer to get grass-fed, but you can, yes, use the boxed Knox gelatin in a recipe. The whole point is that you want it to gel up in a recipe. And I found that using beef gelatin in a lot of my baking recipes, like cookies, gives it a nice chewy texture, and my chocolate chip cookies also works great to give a nice spongy texture in cake. So gelatin is a great option instead of using xanthan gum. Sometimes people don't like xanthan, which also kind of gels, but some people find it's a little bit too gooey. So beef gelatin is a great alternative. The second question was, can I use collagen peptides in place of beef gelatin? Now, I buy collagen peptides for my coffee. Collagen peptides can go in, a scoop can go in your cold beverage or a hot beverage. It doesn't gel up. So collagen peptides is not an equivalent option to swap with the beef gelatin or the Knox gelatin. It won't work. It won't do the same thing that you need it to do in your recipe. I'm using the beef gelatin powder as a gelatinous. It helps gel up like gluten would do in recipes. So collagen peptides would not work. It's great though for your bones and your nails and your hair. And you can't even taste it. It's in my coffee right now. All right. I have a question from Heather before I go back to this. I have an almond allergy. So when I found your blog and cookbooks a few months ago, I was so grateful to be able to eat keto without using almond flour and still be able to manage my autoimmune thyroid disorder and the blood sugar issues that used to occur with it before cutting sugar and going keto. That's awesome, Heather. Yeah, my youngest son, if you guys didn't know, has a tree nut and a peanut allergy. And though I do have some recipes that use almond, like my, or nuts, my pecan snowballs, popular recipe for Christmas. Mostly I don't use almond flour, and I would probably say in 80% of the recipes I don't use almond flour because of my son, and he won't be able to eat it. Exception, pecan pie. Exception, my granola has nuts, and the pecan snowballs. Oh my goodness, so sorry. That's a phone call. Decline. Sorry about that. So yeah, I use a lot of coconut flour and sesame flour, and I've got in my cookbook over 115 nut-free recipes. So that actually there is a question on here that I got from someone regarding that same thing that we were just talking about. Here it is. Sydney asks, I use almond flour or coconut flour to bake. Can I swap either of those with sesame flour in the recipes? So when I use sesame flour, that was my alternative or my swap to using almond flour. So what I found with sesame, Sydney, is that it seems to be almost equivalent to using an almond flour, almost one-to-one. I can't say that it'll work all the time in recipes. Sometimes you may need a little bit more sesame than the almond would require. And that's part of baking skills, where if you look at the batter and it's runny and you're trying to make cookies, you may need to add more sesame to it. But often in recipes, you should be able to sub sesame and almonds. Sometimes, I can't guarantee it's going to work all the time, but you cannot do that with coconut flour. Coconut flour is a different game altogether. Like a cup of almond flour is only about a third, sometimes only a fourth of coconut flour. And then again, you also, with coconut flour, it absorbs so much liquid, so you have to increase your eggs, you have to increase your liquid somehow. So that's a different beast altogether. So you can't equally swap out coconut and almond for sesame. No. Shanine asks, can my coconut flour bread be frozen? Okay, so if you haven't made it, I have a fantastic coconut flour bread. It's almost like the texture of like honey wheat bread. Super soft, super pliable, real sandwich bread. It's legit. Can it be frozen? Yes, Shanine, you can. I would cool it, I would slice it, and I would separate those slices with parchment paper before you freeze it. Then when you freeze it, you can just take out a slice and it won't stick to the other pieces when you have the parchment in between. That would be my suggestion for that. Angela asks, if I don't have vanilla stevia, can I use plain stevia and vanilla extract? Absolutely. I love buying the flavored stevias because it's so much easier, than having all the extracts. But the one-on-one flavors is great. They have tons of flavored extracts. Frontier is another brand that has tons of flavored extracts. So you could just buy a big bottle of plain liquid stevia and just adapt for the flavored stevias I used with one of the extracts. Just use a teaspoon of that. And Christy asks, where's the best place online to buy sesame, hazelnut, and lupin flours? Some people use Thrive Market and say that they're cheapest there. I use Amazon. I just find it's easier for me rather than hunting for other places, Christy, Okay. Another question. Jay Rothy says, I'm a beginner baker and not sure what you mean when you say cover the crust edges. What should I use to cover the edges of the pie crust? So when making my coconut flour pie crust, you pre-bake it, and then you either add a cold filling like that you don't need to bake it again. You don't have to worry about covering the crust. But if you're making like my pecan pie or my chocolate cream pie, you've par-baked it. Now it's got to go in for another 45 minutes or an hour. You have to cover the entire edge of your pie dish with something, a shield, or it's going to burn in that amount of time. So I recommend buying a silicone pie shield. You can buy that, or grabbing some aluminum foil and ripping it and molding it around the edges of the round pie dish, 9-inch pie dish that you're using. Otherwise, you're going to have burnt crust, and nobody wants that. That's gross, right? What is the role of collagen peptides in baking cookies? Heather, I don't use collagen peptides in my baking cookies. Maybe you saw that in another recipe. I use beef gelatin in my recipes because it has a nice gel, it gels up and it gives a nice chewy texture in cookies. If somebody's using collagen peptides, I don't know, maybe they wanted more protein, but collagen peptides does not gel up. It doesn't do the same thing as Knox gelatin or the beef gelatin powder that I use, which provides, like gluten would do, a nice gel, like a nice chewy texture in cookies. So if somebody's using collagen peptides in baking cookies, it's not me. So maybe it works just as good, but I haven't tested that out. I just like the beef gelatin powder. All right, next question. Diana asks, I'm allergic to eggs. What would you suggest instead? I would suggest a gelatin egg or a flax egg, and I have both of those recipes in my cookbook. For a gelatin egg, the one thing that I will, and you can probably Google it online for a gelatin egg, the one thing I will say, I have tried baking a bread, like my coconut flour bread, with gelatin eggs, and it requires 6 eggs. It didn't work. It was dense and it was flat as a pancake. It didn't get nice and fluffy at all. I would suggest that if you're going to use gelatin eggs, I wouldn't suggest any more than 3 eggs. So if something needs 3 eggs, you could equally swap a gelatin or a flax eggs for up to 3, but any more, and the texture for me didn't work out. So I wouldn't suggest that. Jan asks, will the recipe work if I don't have peppermint stevia? Sure, you can always leave out any sweetener, but you just have to replace it with something else. I like the liquid flavored stevias because they're great. They combine it all in one and it's perfect. So my peppermint cheesecake pie, I use peppermint stevia and peppermint extract. But you could do plain liquid stevia and peppermint extract, or nix the stevia if you don't like it at all and use Swerve or monk fruit stevia. There's no eggs in the no-bake peppermint cheesecake pie, so you could taste it, add your little bit of sweetener, always add less than you think you need, taste it, add more if you need it, but you can't take away any sweetener you add. So always start with a little bit, taste it, and then see if you need to add more. The peppermint extract should work just as well as using the peppermint liquid stevia. All right, the next question. My husband is allergic, Judy asks, my husband is allergic to sunflower seeds. What should I use instead? She's referring to my pumpkin mousse cake crust. So sunflower seeds and pumpkin seeds are a great replacement for crushed almonds. So in my no-bake crust recipes, like the pumpkin mousse layer cake, I grind up coconut and sunflowers. Just replace sunflowers with an almond or pecans, another nut if you can have nuts. Sunflowers and almonds work perfectly to replace one another in a no-bake crust recipe. Let's see. You're welcome, Heather. Joseph says, I watch all your videos and have tried several. Love the info. Thank you. I try to serve, I try to help serve you guys and really give you quality recipes and quality information that you can trust. So hopefully you feel that way, and thank you for supporting me with buying my cookbook. I appreciate it. Let's see. Lynn asks, what does whey protein do? Why is whey protein the same product called whey protein isolate that is found in the nutrition section at the grocer? I don't know why the isolate is there. Whey protein does help in textures, like in my cloud bread recipe. It really does give it some more lift and a little bit more bread-like texture. For me, it seems to help with texture that gluten would provide. Like the cloud bread, the original recipe for cloud bread is like eggs and cream cheese. And I found when I first made it, it sticks to the roof of your mouth. It's horrible. So I swapped out the cream cheese with a lighter cheese of sour cream in my recipe, and I added whey protein. And it seems to help lift it and give it a light, airy texture, and it doesn't get stuck to the roof of your mouth when you bite into it. It makes fantastic French toast. I've got a French toast recipe on my blog, so I think you'll like that. All right, back to these questions that I got. Dee asks, can I use butter in place of olive oil and almond milk in place of coconut milk? Absolutely, you can always swap out butter for olive oil in any recipes, and almond milk in place of coconut milk. Yes, absolutely. But one exception is canned coconut milk with the thick cream on top. If you're replacing almond milk, it may change the texture of your recipe. So I would say if you're going to need to replace almond milk, get the carton kind of the very light and loose in the refrigerated section coconut milk, not canned creamy, solid coconut milk. That wouldn't work the same as the almond milk. All right, Gina asks, can I freeze without baking my coconut flour pie crust, or should I bake it and then freeze it? I suggest that you actually bake the coconut flour pie crust first, let it cool, freeze it, thaw it the night before you want to fill it and use it and rebake it. I think that's your best bet. All right, let's see. I have a couple more questions. We're only at 20 minutes. I'm doing good. I try to keep it at 30 or less. Sharon asks, can I make the Buckeye Fat Bomb bars dairy-free by replacing the butter with coconut oil and the heavy cream with coconut milk? Yes to the butter and the coconut oil swap. Here is the exception for the heavy cream with the coconut milk. Heavy cream gets nice and thick when whipped, and in this recipe, you need that thickness for the Buckeye Fat Bomb bars. So I would suggest do not use the coconut milk that's in the carton refrigerated section. Here's where I would suggest using canned coconut milk with the cream. That will provide the same texture the heavy cream would have provided in the recipe, and then you should be all set. Hi, Sharon, watching from Texas. Nice to have you. Thank you. Okay. What I did answer. Oh my goodness, the dog is barking. Someone is at the door. I'm sorry. Ruby, stop it. Well, of all the times, stop barking. Ruby, come here. All right, last question. I think I got all of them. I think. Yeah. All right, last question I have on my paper here. Casey asks, can I sub coconut flour for something else I'm not a fan? This is so hard because every recipe with coconut flour is different. And if you are going to swap a half cup of coconut flour, you will have to be really cautious of the texture. Like I said, you probably need 1.25 cups of almond to replace that half cup of coconut flour, or a cup of sesame to replace that. It's all going to have to look at. I would have to test it out. I mean, coconut flour is really hard to swap. But honestly, I would say, how many of you have tried any of my coconut flour recipes, like my muffins, or my fathead crust, or my coconut flour pie crust, or some of these things that have coconut flour? They don't have a big coconut flavor to them. So I would say try it out, just give it a try. I mean, you may like it. You may actually like it better than you thought. I think many of you have had such a bad experience with coconut flour, with some bad recipes, that you think everything with coconut flour is dry, dense, and horrible. But if you've tried my recipes, I think it will change your mind. I have got it down pat with the coconut flour. I really do. I've mastered it. I used to have a love-hate relationship with coconut flour, and I've mastered it so that when you get a good recipe sorry, up the dog. When you have a good recipe, you will like it. I promise you. You've got to try it. Prove me wrong. Tell me if you hate it, even if you tried it. All right. What do you think about bone broth powder? Koya says. I use bone broth. I drink bone broth. I haven't actually tried it in replace of beef gelatin powder, but I wonder if it gels up. If it gels up, then I guess it would work the same as the beef gelatin in the recipes. Yeah. And Melissa says, it's really hard to find some of the ingredients sometimes, but so worth it because I'm completely off insulin now. Oh, congratulations. That's fantastic. Yeah, a lot of them are hard to find. I will say some, markets are getting better about buying, having these kind of items on stock. But if you read the reviews on Amazon, most of the products in here in my cookbook and for the recipes are everyday products for your keto kitchen. So except for the exception of like the particular sweeteners you like to use, or some of the flours, like sesame. It might be hard to find that, and you'd have to buy that on Amazon. So let me see. Oh, Lynn says, buy the book. You won't be disappointed. I'm not affiliated with Sugar Free Mom, just a book user who loves this book. Thank you so much, Lynn. I totally appreciate that. Well, that's it for today, guys. I went through all my questions. I told you about all the good things happening. I've got the Amazon gift card, $100 if you are registered for my online live cooking class December 12th. I've got the Pure Products giveaway and a copy of my cookbook that's on my website. All the links are above. And anybody who orders the cookbook is going to get the cheesecake ebook for free, as well as if you write a review on Amazon. I really could use those reviews, and I appreciate you guys for watching and supporting me. And I hope you had a great Thanksgiving last week, and I hope that you have a great night tonight. And I'll be back next Thursday at 7 p.m. live with you, and I will try to answer any more questions that I didn't get to. And I hope that you have a great day. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.